learn another type of factoring. It is factor the perfect square. So today's topic is about how to factor a perfect square. Before I start the factoring, I want to remind you of a topic that we learned not a long time, like last week. It is if we have something like x plus 3 squared, whole square. I told you that we expand like this. We square the first, we multiply the first and the second, and then we multiply the result by 2. First times second times 2, so 3 times x is 3x times 2 is 6x. Then we square the second. Another example to remind you, if we have 3b minus 5 squared, and we want to expand this, I told you, we square the first, so 9b squared, then the first times the second times 2, so 3b times negative 5 is negative 15b times 2 is negative 30b, and we square the second, which is negative 5 squared, which is positive 25. So this is what we learned about how to expand this with the shortcut. And today what we are going to learn is, if we have this, how can we return it back to this form? If we have this, how to return it back to this form? This is called a perfect square. This and this are perfect square. Okay, there are 3 conditions that I'm going to talk about them now to say that a quadratic is a perfect square. I'm going to tell you about them now. So, 3 conditions of perfect square. If we have a quadratic ax squared plus bx plus c, how can we tell if this is a perfect square or not? The first condition, A must be a perfect square. A is a perfect square. Second condition, C is a perfect square. Three, the square root of A times the square root of C times 2 has to equal 2. Who can tell me what a perfect square is? Perfect square are the numbers that we can find the square root of them without a calculator. Square root of like 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, all of those are perfect square. I can find the square root of those. So, to say that the quadratic is a perfect square, A must be one of these numbers, C must be one of these numbers, and if we multiply the square root of A times the square root of C times 2, we get the middle term. Note, in here, I cannot find the square root of a negative number, so there is no negative numbers can never be a perfect square. Negative numbers, like I cannot say that negative 9 is a perfect square. This is not perfect square. Okay? I cannot find the square root of a negative number. So put that in your mind when you are factoring a perfect square. Now I'm going to give you some examples So we know the conditions: A perfect square, C perfect square, 2 times square root of A times square root of C equal the middle term. This is a perfect square. So let us talk about, I will give you some examples. Okay, now how we factor it? This is a perfect square. If ax squared plus bx squared plus c, this is a perfect square. And I told you the three conditions. We can factor this as square root of ax, sine of the middle. So if it is sine of the middle, term, then the square root of c. Okay, this is how we put a square here. This is a perfect square. Okay, so now let us have some examples. Let's say I have x squared plus 12x plus 36. Now, the first step is of any factoring is to look for common factors. Nothing is common. So a is 1. It's a perfect square, yes. C is 36. This is a perfect square, yes. Square root of a times square root of c times 2 will give us 2 times 1 times 6, which is 12. So that's equal b. So yes, this is a perfect square. Yes, perfect square. How we factor it? Very simple. We open one bracket and we put a square here, and we don't forget the square. Then we get the square root of the first, so square root of 1x squared is x. Sine of the middle, so here it's plus. Square root of the third, square root of c, which is 6. If you expand this, you will get this back. Okay? This is the first example. Let us have another one. Let us say 9k squared minus 24k plus 16. 9k squared minus 24k plus 16. The first thing we try to see if there is any common factors. There is nothing. So now let's check if it's a perfect square or not. A is a perfect square. C is a perfect square. Square root of 9 times square root of 16 times 2 equals 2 times 3 times 4, which is 24. So that is equal b. So yes, it is a perfect square. How we factor this? We open one bracket and we put a square here. Square root of ax squared, the square root of 9k squared is 3k. What sign I put? The sign of the middle. So what is the sign of the middle? It is minus. Then square root of c, which is 4. If you expand this using the FOIL method or use the shortcut, square the first times second times 2, square the second, you will get this back. So this is how we do factor perfect square. I want to give you more examples. Let's say 4k squared plus 20k plus 25. Nothing is common. A equals 4, perfect square. C equals 25, perfect square. 2 times square root of 4 times square root of 25 is 2 times 2 times 5, that's 20, so that's b. So yes, perfect square. We can factor this now as a perfect square. How we do that? One bracket, square here, square root of the first, sine of the middle, square root of c.